How do you feel about book prices in our bookstore?
I feel like in our bookstore the prices are way too high.
Or too high? So do you buy them from there or do you get them from somewhere else?
Well, being an incoming freshman, I didn't know about all the other stuff, so I bought them from the bookstore and was out of a lot of money. So now that I know that I can go to Amazon and buy them cheaper, I will.
Well, how do you feel about an app where students can buy books from each other at lower prices?
I'm all for it. Lower prices, more money in my pocket.
I think that they're like overly expensive and then we could have cheaper books because we already pay a lot of money to go to college.
If I need a book like really fast, like for a class, that's usually like okay to get it there, even though it is like definitely higher price compared to Amazon.
Okay. How would you feel if there was an app where you could rent or buy books from other students at low prices?
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
How do y'all feel about the bookstore's prices on textbooks?
Personally, I feel as if the bookstore takes advantage of the fact that a lot of students who come in here aren't residents, international students especially. They don't have a car, they don't really know what's going on, so their best bet is to go to the bookstore. It's easy access and it's convenient, and they know that some kids don't have the choice, so they knock the prices up. It's not really fair, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like they're not very good compared to online resources like check.com. Like that makes a big difference for me that they have such a big price gap between them.
Well, how would y'all feel if there was an app to where you could buy and rent books from other students at our own campus at a lower price?
Definitely, I think it'd be perfect because I think most guys, they've got their close friend groups, and if you try that and they haven't got a textbook, it's kind of a difficult situation. But if you've got the access to the entire student body, where people you don't necessarily know firsthand, if they can just advertise what they've got and then you are interested, same for you. It's a way of making some money back because you spent on textbooks, so you can go towards your new textbooks. It's also a way for people to save money too, so I think it's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, the same thing. It would make it a lot easier and a lot more accessible for people to be able to get the textbooks at a cheaper rate. And even if it wasn't just at CBU, if it was Memphis wide, it would make a difference. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Just do it. Thank you.
How do you feel about prices on textbooks from our bookstore?
They are very overpriced and ridiculous, and most students cannot afford to go to the bookstore.
I've never bought a textbook from the school and I will refuse to until I graduate.
If you don't get them from our bookstore, where do you get them from?
Check. Amazon.
Yeah.
I look at slugbooks.com and I compare all the book prices.
How would you feel if there was an app where you could rent and buy books from other students here at CBU for low prices?
I'd be really happy. I would use that for every book that I buy. Approved by Rebecca.
How do you feel about prices on textbooks from our bookstore?
I actually am not that familiar with what the current rate is as far as the books go, how much they are individually. I know it varies a lot from course to course. I do think though that the faculty and the students sort of should have access to affordable textbooks. That textbooks shouldn't be something that are very expensive or onerous for students to have to purchase.
So where do you think students should get their books from other than the bookstore?
I always encourage mine to try Amazon, primarily to see what, particularly used books. For literature classes at least, you can usually buy relatively cheap paperback copies of books. Of course, that's not always an option for engineering or chemistry textbooks that have to be much more sort of up to date and current on things. But I mean, you can pick up a novel from the 1800s for $1 or $2. But I always tell my students to check Amazon.
Would you find it more relieving if you knew that there was an app where students could buy books at very low prices from other students?
From other students, I think that's an interesting idea, kind of like an eBay for books. Is
Yes.
that okay? So, yeah, I think that could work really well. My concern would be with any kind of disruptive technology like that, where and what I mean by disruptive is that it sort of upsets the way books are usually purchased, or it's a new way of accessing it. As long as the system was set up in a way that the students themselves who were selling the books weren't able to then exploit other students, then I think that would be a really good idea.
Great.
How do you feel about prices on textbooks from our bookstore for students?
Generally speaking, and so far as I know, the bookstore's prices are more or less in line with what other campus bookstores would probably offer, and I know the bookstore offers kind of a number of options for used, rental, and to purchase new books outright. So in principle, as far, relative to other campus bookstores, I really don't know. I don't have the knowledge necessary to make that judgment because I've never checked the prices. As far as what I can see from the formal price online versus what the textbook store, what the bookstore charges, they seem to be the same. In other words, if I look up what is the standard textbook price, say for the Corinne Carvalho book in my Old Testament class, what CBU charges for the book new is what the book, is what the official list price is from the publisher if you were to buy it in a bookstore. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So as far as that goes, I don't have any issue with the price. But again, I've never compared used books or the rental policies. Those I'm ignorant of. But as far as new books, they seem to be in line with what I anticipate students needing to pay.
Okay, so that's where you would advise them to get them from, the bookstore or a website? Or
I would advise the students to act in their own financial interest and their own intellectual interest. In other words, I see in fact, there are laws to allow, that's why we have to give ISBNs ahead of time so that students can search for the books on their own and get them from the most cost efficient. So no, I don't feel that the students should get them at the bookstore. They should get them where the proper edition is the least expensive, but they should have it in a timely manner.
Okay, so how would you feel about an app where students could buy and sell books at lower prices from each other?
Assuming there are no legal ramifications of which I'm unaware, then I would have no problem with that. I'd say that would be smart and clever, and again, they should act in their financial best interest. And if they've bought the book, that they haven't rented it, and they own the book, then the book is theirs to do as they wish. I mean, it'd be unethical of me to take an instructor copy and sell it to students through that app. That would be unethical. But it's not. I don't see why something you own that you could sell on eBay. Why not have an app through which students at one university could sell it? I think that would be clever and appropriate, and I'll invest in so I can get a cut of the profit.
We have to find a better way to deal with this issue of textbooks. And the nice part about our administration right now is we're looking at options, rental of textbooks, other ways of using the bookstore to sort of find better ways, Amazon, whatever way we can do that. We're real sensitive to that. So it's not something that we as an administration have sort of neglected right now. In fact, we want to work closely with the faculty. So what's been happening right now is we went to the faculty with a proposal last year relative to renting textbooks, which we thought would reduce the cost of the textbook for individual students. And there were some issues there, and the faculty pointed those issues out in terms of why this may not be the best company to use. So what the faculty, in fact, are doing right this very moment, working with our academic vice president, Dr. Paul Hod, is they're working on finding a better way to sort of deal with this issue of textbook cost, and also, we need to work, we'll work closely with the faculty too about what textbooks they're assigning and all that kind of thing. So really, it's a complicated issue, but one that clearly affects each and every one of our students. And so the one cool thing about CBU is I think the one thing we try to do a lot is listen to our students. And this is an issue that students have brought to our attention. We try to act very proactively. We had a company we looked at, and again, in retrospect, it wasn't the best company, and so but we're still continuing this dialogue for this year. Hopefully, by the end of the year, we'll have some sort of new proposal for the upcoming year. We had it baked in, so it was even part of the tuition, so you wouldn't even feel it. And and the board of trustees who sort of govern us had looked at it also. But again, there were the issues that the faculty brought up were very clear issues that that would be biased toward different majors and not, and toward the faculty trying to teach. And at that point in time, we said, let's work together with the faculty and the students and get this right. So we're going to get it right. We're going to get it right.
That's really good to
ultimately,
hear.
we're going to get it right, and we're very aware of this thing. We understand that. I mean, it's part of your cost.
Right.
They're real dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, they're real dollars that come out of your pockets. And so,
Well, that's really good to hear.
Yeah.
We, for this project, we designed a solution, a
Okay, good.
theoretical one.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. We created an app that will allow students to buy and sell textbooks from each other at lower prices. And so if all of the technicalities could be worked out,
Sure.
with legal issues and everything else, do you think that that could be something that would be supported?
sure, that stuff gives me great
Yeah,
excitement,
yeah.
actually. So I
It'd be a good
appreciate you
way to,
taking it, to being proactive in this, and let's see where it goes.
Yeah,
We'd be-
absolutely.
We'd
Be
be
a
very,
good way.
very, very, very receptive to that. Yeah, I know we would be. Now, barring all the other stuff, that, will a bookstore care? We have to negotiate that. Will you have enough volume to make this feasible? Do you need some upfront capital?
Yeah.
A lot of these things we can. But I think it's cool to engage in dialogue. It's like what the faculty are doing with the renting of the textbook. It's sort of like that. If we get the community involved, lots of smart people. I mean, students are smart. You guys are smart, smarter than I am, and the faculty are real smart too. And so, with all that said, I think it's definitely we'd be up for something creative if you can work it out. Let's get the conversation going.
All right.